My name is Natasha Campbell-McBride. I'm a medical doctor. I was born in the Soviet Union, in Russia. I was trained as a medical doctor and neurologist and neurosurgeon there. I've completed a PhD in neurology, and then I moved to the UK, where I have completed a second postgraduate degree in human nutrition. And so now I have these skills to combine the medical and the neurology and the human nutrition skills. And these are all the skills that I use in my clinic. I treat my patients largely by changing their diet, changing their nutrition, and changing their lifestyle, because I find that these are the most powerful modalities for treating modern degenerative disease. We had illness in the family that I had to deal with. And when I discovered that my own profession had nothing to offer to remedy the condition, I was looking everywhere, far and wide, and I found that food is an extremely powerful way of dealing with disease. The most powerful way. Many people don't realize it, just how powerful food is. So I went back to university and I studied human nutrition, and I've studied all the science behind it. And the result of that research, combining with all the other skills that I already had, was that I remedied the family condition. That changed my professional approach to disease entirely. When I worked as a neurologist in the mainstream medicine, I have noticed that almost 100% of chronic neurological conditions were people who had serious digestive problems as well. And I wondered why they all suffer from digestive disorders. In the mainstream medicine, it was thought that they're just coincidental, they have nothing to do with their neurological symptoms, and that we just ignore them, or we invite a gastroenterologist to deal with them. We don't have to deal with them. And having learned what I've learned through my own personal experience and with thousands of patients in my clinic now, I realized that it is the digestive disorders that these people have that caused their neurological conditions. And in order to treat these neurological conditions, we have to start from treating the digestive system of these people. The most common neurological conditions that neurologists have to deal with on a daily basis are multiple sclerosis and amyotrophic lateral sclerosis and various neuropathies and various other neurological conditions that people suffer from, where they start getting paralysis and lose the muscle tone and lose their reflexes and lose the strength in the muscles, muscular disorders. Most of these conditions are now being pronounced as autoimmune, where we assume that the immune system of the patient went on a rampage for whatever reason and started attacking the person's nervous system, the brain, the spine, and the nerves, and causing all these symptoms. What the mainstream medicine doesn't seem to be interested in is to find out why does the immune system does all this? Why does the immunity attack people's nervous system? And now through my work, I have no doubt why. 85% of all immune system is located in the digestive tract, in the gut wall of the person. So our digestive system is a huge and the most important and the biggest immune organ in our bodies. And there is a very intimate and very serious conversation going on between that immunity in the gut wall and between what lives inside the digestive tract of these people. What lives inside our digestive system? Our gut flora. An average adult has between 2 and 3 kilograms of microbes inside their digestive tract. And it's a highly organized microbial world, where certain species have to predominate in order to keep us healthy and well-functioning. And their functions and their ability to affect our health goes far beyond the digestive system itself. They regulate immunity and they keep the whole of the body together and working together. Recent research in Scandinavia has established a fact that about 90% of all cells and all genetic material in the human body is our gut flora. 90%. So we are just 10%. We're just a shell, a habitat for this mass of microbes who live inside us. And we ignore them at our peril. They ensure that we digest and absorb the food properly. They ensure that our immune system is well balanced and working properly. They ensure that the gut lining is in a good shape and good state, not to let toxins through and microbes through, and partially digested foods through. And when the gut flora is unhealthy and abnormal, all these functions fail. The person does not digest and absorb food properly, so they develop multiple nutritional deficiencies. In effect, their body is starving of nutrients. At the same time, the immunity goes on a rampage. It gets unbalanced. Autoimmunity develops. All these autoimmune conditions are stemming from the digestive tract, from unhealthy gut flora and unhealthy gut. There are best part of 200 autoimmune conditions already established in our medical science. And our medicine keeps coming with newer and newer diagnostic boxes, which are called autoimmune. Many of them are unpronounceable. Every one of those conditions, I'm absolutely convinced from my clinical experience, are born in the digestive tract of these patients. About 85% of our immune system is located in the gut wall. That is the most important and the biggest part of our immune system. And the relationship and the conversation that goes on between the gut flora and the immune system in the wall is so intimate and so complex. We only just started studying that subject. We only touched the tip of the iceberg. And when the gut flora is abnormal, when it's unhealthy in a person, the immune system simply cannot be healthy. It gets out of balance immediately. And the first thing that happens, usually in children, when this situation develops, the child becomes prone to allergies. The child starts developing allergies to foods, asthma, eczema, hay fever, and various other allergic atopic conditions, because the immune system went out of balance. Major armies in the immune system, major parts of it, Th1 and Th2 immunity, got out of balance. And the child's immune system cannot respond to the environment appropriately, to pollen, to dust, to dandruff from animals, to foods, to industrial chemicals. The immune system is simply unable to respond appropriately. It responds inappropriately to these things, and the person develops allergies, develops reactions. In terms of autoimmunity, what happens in these patients? The immune system is out of balance. As a result, it employs the armies of sensitized cells, Th cells, which are already on the shelf, which already know various proteins in the environment. And when a protein from food doesn't get digested properly and absorbs through the damaged gut lining into the bloodstream, this unbalanced immune system finds these proteins in the bloodstream and attacks them. It doesn't recognize them as food. And the person develops symptoms. This is called a food intolerance or food allergy. And if we talk to the population, if you stop any person on the street, you will discover that quite a large percent of our population have food allergies and intolerances. What's wrong is that their gut lining is damaged. It's like a sieve. The digestive tract is not functioning well because it is full of abnormal, unhealthy species of microbes. So foods don't get the chance to be digested and broken down properly before they absorb through that damaged gut lining into the bloodstream. So in order to get rid of these food allergies and asthma and eczema and various other allergic reactions and hay fever, you need to focus on healing. And have you ever asked yourself a question, who educates the population on what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat? Who? To place a 30-second advertisement on TV, you need 15 or 20,000 pounds. Educating the population is an extremely expensive business. Science doesn't have money to do that. Who does? Food industry, corporations. They have the money and they have the motivation to tell the population what they should eat. So they've been educating the population now for decades that all the foods which are unprofitable for them, the population should not eat and they're bad for us, and all the foods which are very profitable for them are good for us. Vegetable oils are highly profitable, extremely profitable, while selling butter or lard is not very profitable at all, because there's not much processing there. It's just, you just melt it out and you sell it as it is. That is why these fats were vilified. I'm sure that many people now thinking about heart disease and cholesterol. Where did that idea come from? We're coming from an idea which was proposed in 1953 first, that fats in foods might have something to do with heart disease. That idea is called the diet heart hypothesis. Any hypothesis is only an idea until it's been proven. Trouble is that it took science decades working on that idea, trying to prove it, and actually what they've done, they've proven it to be entirely wrong, completely wrong. But while all that was going on, while the science was working on this idea, a huge political and commercial machine has grown up on this idea, which is making enormous profits. And the more scientists now are producing evidence to show that the diet hut hypothesis is entirely and completely wrong, the stronger the propaganda becomes coming from food industry and from other corporations and from the governments that they control. Because governments are there to serve corporations. And as the governments dictate to the medical profession what to say and what to do, the medical profession is in the same camp as well. They're being educated by the food industry as well. And as a result, the population have heard this idea so much now that vegetable oils are good for you and butter is bad for you. Where just the opposite is true. Butter is a life-giving, health-giving, healthy, beautiful substance which will do your body only good, while vegetable oils cause every disease under the sun, and that has been proven by solid science. Trouble is that science can never have a chance to make it into the mainstream media because it's a very expensive business. And the food industry is not going to pay for that, and the government is not going to pay for that, and nobody is going to pay for that. So those studies are buried in the peer-reviewed journals and available only to scientists. They're not available to the population. I would like to see small mixed farms, the way it used to be before the Second World War. A farm that has crops and vegetables and fruit and animals. In order for the soil to stay alive and stay healthy, it needs animals. So when you've harvested your wheat on your field, you have to let chickens and pigs and cows and sheep on that field, because with their excrements they will fertilize the field. They would put probiotic bacteria back into the soil. They will restore the living community of the soil. The soil is a highly alive and highly complex organism. It has trillions of various species of life in it, starting from viruses and fungi and bacteria and insects and protozoa and all sorts of little creatures. And they all have to be there. In our chemical farming, which is insane, the soils which are sprayed and sprayed and sprayed are dead. Many soils are dead. There's no bacteria, there's no life in it left anymore. So these soils cannot sustain the plants. They actually just provide a physical medium to hold the root of the plant in place. That's all they provide. They don't provide the nourishment. The nourishment, the meager nourishment, comes from those white pellets that the farmers spread all over their field, the fertilizers. And all they provide is just a few little minerals to allow the plant to grow. But when you analyze that plant in the laboratory, nutritionally it's empty. It doesn't have the nutrition that plants used to have even 30 years ago or 40 years ago. So they don't nourish us. They just create nutritional deficiencies, and they don't nourish our animals that are fed on these plants. And the milk as a result is nutritionally deficient, and eggs and meat, and the whole food chain suffers from these practices. When you have small mixed farms where animals are put on the field after the field has been harvested, they will restore the fertility of the soil. So next crop that you put on that field will be well nourished and will have plenty of nutrition in it. So you will be fed well, and you will be healthier and happier as a population, and everybody will benefit. The chemical industry has been working very hard on spreading the message across the globe that without us you can't feed the planet. Without us you will all starve, without our chemicals, without our pesticides and so on. There are studies now to show that organic farming produces 3 times bigger yields. 3 times. And of course the nutritional value of their food is incomparable with the chemical food that this chemical farming is producing. So that's a myth. That's a lie. We can feed the world, and we can feed it much, much better if the food production is made local again and was allowed to manage itself and went back to small mixed farms.